And you know, certainly I've had lots of anecdotes and reports from, you know, nonprofits about things that are going on in places I haven't looked at. And the upshot of that is that when left to their own devices, you know, that type of government will just let the oil companies, you know, do whatever they want, and typically they behave in a very different manner when they don't have informed public scrutiny and when they don't have government oversight. They'll let thousands or tens of thousands of people die downstream from their operations. Now I'm talking about, I'm not going to name names, but I'm talking about sort of the big companies that you go and buy your gas from. You'd recognize the logo right away. So I think that history has shown that it's not a good idea to leave them to their own devices. I'm not saying these are evil people. I think that's, you know, that vilification of them as people is stupid. What they are is a big superorganism that reacts to the market. They are responsible to their shareholders, and they're going to do what they need to do unless they're stopped, unless they're given boundaries. And that's the job of the public, to be informed, and it's the job of government to respond to the public will, to create those boundaries. And you know, I think that there's a constructive conversation to be had here between government. I had a good meeting with Premier Stelmach. We agreed where we agreed, and we agreed to disagree in a number of areas, but it was gracious and polite. And you know, I think that there's a constructive way to move forward here, but it has to include the First Nations communities and leaders in that conversation right from the get-go. Not some you know, token involvement, but real involvement in the forward planning. You know, I've been really privileged in my life to have had you know, great success, and you know, Avatar was a huge success, which I think is a measure of you know, how it was received around the world, not just for its action and its visual effects, but for its message and how it touched the heart of people. So that gives me great hope that there is a feeling out there on a global basis that we're at some kind of turning point, that we're at some kind of, you know, milestone here where we have to change, we have to reconnect with nature, and we have to respect nature. I'm not saying everybody that saw the movie thinks that, but certainly a large number do, and that's what prompted this outpouring from you know, the organizations that work with Indigenous communities all over the world. That's how I met, you know, these gentlemen here. I feel privileged to be now included in their struggle. And to get to sit with them and observe their wisdom up close. And I don't mean that wisdom in some literary sense. I mean wisdom. Like these are smart people that are practical. They're willing to work, you know, work in a political way, but you know, they demand and deserve respect and recognition and a place at the table in this really important set of decisions that are made. And I think Chief Amos's point about being a minority, go up to northern Alberta, they're not a minority, not up in Fort Chip, and they're the ones that watch this wave of development coming toward them with great apprehension and fear for their children and for how it's going to change their world, and not just their world in their town, but their greater world with the, you know, with the caribou and the other wildlife that they feel a kinship to, and you know, that they believe they have a stewardship role and a sense of community with. That's their greater community, and I hear this in all the Indigenous communities around the world. Their community is a community with the animals, with the birds, with the fish. That needs to be our community. The point that I would like to make, just to close here quickly, and we're going to get into questions, we can get more into details, is that when it comes to what's before us on this planet in the next decade or so, we're all Indigenous. We're all Indigenous to Mother Earth, and it's all connected. And I don't mean that in some sort of crystal energy chanting, you know, kind of way. I mean it in the way the ecologists mean it. It's all connected. You can't move a piece in one country without it affecting somebody else somewhere else. And what's going on here in Alberta, the atmospheric particulate pollution, the sulfur dioxide is creating acid rain in Saskatchewan, and the rivers are connected. And to move forward, we have to move forward with a sense of unity of purpose, and that's all concerned, compassionate people. And I would say that as a parent of 5 kids, I would appeal to parents everywhere to really think clearly about the decisions you're making, about the way you're living, about how you're voting, about framing your philosophy, maybe your business philosophy, maybe your life philosophy, because you're creating a world that your kids are going to have to live in, and then their kids. And I dread the world that for my kids that's being created by the fossil fuel industry in the United States with its undue influence over policy and so on. But it's all connected, and we need to take action. So my appeal really is to the public to learn the issues, connect with these issues. Don't live in denial. I mean, I know everybody's got to pay their mortgage. Don't live in denial. This thing is big. It's huge in Alberta. You guys are going to be out in the center of a spotlight here. That's going to be a world spotlight. And I think the world is going to look to Canada for leadership. And as a Canadian, still proud of being a Canadian, I think Canadians have higher standards. Sure, we got a higher standard of living, but we also have a higher standard of ethics and morals in the way we do business. And I think we got to demonstrate that to the world here.